T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engines full power and ignition. Lift off of Falcon 9. Go Hotbird, go Falcon. Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Pad 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying the Eutelsat Hotbird 13F satellite.
Nominal.
During ascent, the M1D engines will actually swivel and help steer Falcon 9. This is known as gimbal. The rocket autonomously tilts the engines just a few degrees, and this gimbling
supersonic.
allows the vehicle to perform a gravity turn, which is when we go vertical as well as horizontal. So we're still going up, but now we're also heading horizontally away from the launch pad.
Max Q.
And there we heard the call out for maximum aerodynamic pressure. So now we'll throttle those 9 M1D engines back up. In about a minute, we'll have 3 events occurring in quick succession. The first will be main engine cutoff, or MECO, as it's seen there on the timeline at the bottom of your screen. MECO will be followed immediately by stage separation, which, as the name indicates, the first stage and second stage will separate. And then the second engine, that Merlin vacuum engine, will ignite for SES-1, or second engine start 1. Everything continues to look nominal for the first stage. It's a great view of the M1D exhaust plume. Standing by for main engine cutoff.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed.
And there you can see that MVAC has ignited, that nozzle turning orange and white. Those 3 events happening rapidly. The first stage there on the left-hand side of your screen, and the right-hand side for the second stage.
Both vehicles are following nominal trajectories.
Next major event is fairing separation, occurring in about 10 seconds. We can see the Space Coast in the distance background of the left-hand side of the screen.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And there's our first look at the Eutelsat Hotbird 13F payload. Now, those fairing halves that we just separated, we will be attempting to retrieve them again once they fall back to planet Earth. We'll be using our recovery ship Doug to do so.
Acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
We're at T+4 minutes into tonight's mission, and we're currently in the first of 2 planned MVAC burns prior to satellite deployment. The next event, first stage entry burn, will occur at about T+6.5 minutes, and you should be able to see it on your screen. For that entry burn, we'll relight 3 M1D engines, starting with the center one, engine 9, followed shortly thereafter by E1 and E5, which are 2 of the 8 radial engines. That burn is the first of 2 planned burns and will slow the vehicle down as it passes back into the Earth's atmosphere. Now, stage 1 has to slow down to reduce re-entry forces, which helps us to recover and reuse it. Now, during that entry burn, Falcon 9 is decelerating by firing those Merlin engines, as I mentioned, but it's still moving rapidly. This causes the vehicle to fly through Merlin's exhaust gases, also called the rocket's plume. As such, a thin layer of soot from Falcon 9's carbon-based fuel, kerosene, is deposited on the exterior vehicle surface.
Both vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
Now, for those that might not be familiar with why we land our rockets, reusability is key to lowering the cost of spaceflight, which enables more investments in critical scientific research. And the Falcon 9 first stage that's supporting today's mission will perform this entry burn for the 3rd time. As I mentioned earlier, it previously supported a Starlink mission as well as a cargo resupply mission to the International Space Station, CRS-24. So we're expecting that entry burn to begin in under 10 seconds.
Stage 1, FTSO safe.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
So there on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see those 3 M1D engines have relit, the center engine and 2 radial engines. We expect this to last for another 10 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
All right, we heard the call out that stage 1 entry burn has concluded. As I mentioned, that is the first of 2 burns that the first stage will perform. Everything continues to look nominal for the second stage there on your screen.
Both vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
Good indication there that everything is on track for both the first and second stage. In about 30 seconds, we'll have the next milestone coming up. That's when we will shut down our MVAC engine, or Merlin vacuum engine, there on your screen on the second stage. And that will be followed very quickly by our landing burn.
Stage 1 transonic.
And there we just heard that the first stage is traveling near the speed of sound.
Stage 2, FTSO saved.
Standing by for second engine cutoff 1.
MVAC shutdown.
All right, we started to see that that MVAC nozzle was losing that bright white glow, indicating we had a second engine
landing burn.
Second engine cutoff. And there on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see that the first stage has begun the landing burn.
Nominal parking orbit.
Heard good orbital insertion there for the second stage.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And there you have it. That landing marks SpaceX's 147th recovery of an orbital class rocket, including first stage landings for Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. This evening's launch marked SpaceX's 185th overall mission, as well as our 99th launch from Space Launch Complex 40, our 140th Falcon 9 first stage landing, and our 40th landing on our drone ship. Just read the instructions. As a reminder, Eutelsat is a world-leading satellite operator in a footprint covering Europe, Africa, the Middle East, Asia, and the Americas.
Payload separation confirmed.
And there you see it on your screen. Payload separation confirmed for the Hotbird 13F payload. And with confirmation of successful payload deploy, we'll go ahead and end our launch webcast for tonight. All of us here at SpaceX want to give a big thank you to our customer Eutelsat for entrusting us with today's mission.